and I'll never back down. In the middle of the ring is where I lay the smack down. Against all odds, I will always prevail. So when you step to me, it's like hell in a cell.
Greetings and salutations, this is Christopher Daniels. I'm talking to my main man Delzinski right now. Any video game show, any video game channel, any YouTube channel called Vintage Shizzle is indeed hashtag Daniels approved.
Yo, alright guys, Delzinski here. Welcome to another We Talk Weekend. And as per usual, I'm joined by my partner in crime, Smack Talks. How are you doing, mate?
I'm alright, man. How's you?
I am very good, thank you very much. And it's kind of been a little bit of a lower key week in wrestling, I feel, don't you think?
It has. It's been one of them weeks where not too much has happened. And usually when we get that, the following week, it goes absolutely mental. And last week was pretty mental with the Bullet Club news. So I think this is where everything's kind of died down. And we're just sort of sailing along to the next crazy bit of madness that comes in next week, especially with the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, everyone's got like a Bullet Club hangover. That's what it feels like.
It does. It feels that way. You get all that news and then you just sit and waiting for something.
Yeah, so I mean, this week we kind of had a little look at what we thought would be good talking points. So we're going to be discussing Roman Reigns, All or Nothing. We're going to be talking about Brock Lesnar being in the Royal Rumble. That is official. Kalisto's very short championship reign. Very, very short.
Very, very short.
Yes, very short indeed. Sting in the Hall of Fame. Some news on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, about where they're potentially going in the WWE. And then we've got a few more WrestleMania topics as well. But first of all, I thought that we would kick off this show with the most popular segment in wrestling history, in podcast history. I'm talking about Tammy's tweets.
I thought you were saving this till the end. I thought this was like what everyone had to tune in for.
Well. I mean, I know they say you save the best to last, but why not just go with the flow this week? Why not? I mean, my Twitter has been blowing up on this. I mean, we're having people. I mean, Sonny should literally pay us for the amount of clients we're sending her way. I mean, we
need like a discount code we can give out.
Exactly. I'm not sure what that discount code would be, though. It would be saying like XXX or something like that.
Something along those lines. I had someone actually like tweet us yesterday where they tweeted Sonny and they tagged me in it, saying, you know, Smack Talks is a huge fan. Would you like to go out on a date with him maybe sometime? And I was like, what have you started? What is going on? I'm getting tweets like this and I don't like it.
Was that the tweet that... Was that the one where I said, what is this? Because I couldn't see the tweet.
I think you might have deleted the tweet afterwards.
Why did you do that?
You've probably seen sense.
She must like notice your name though now, because you keep popping up on her feed quite a lot.
Well, this is all thanks to you, this is.
I mean, it's probably not the first time you've popped up in Sonny's feed, but you know... Loving it.
No.
Oh, no. Right. As he's got all tongue twisted now.
I was losing my voice. I couldn't say anything. I'm still dying.
Is that how it is with a Sunny Skype session? You just become speechless?
It must be. It'll be like one of them raw crowds. You know, you're shouting at it all the time. And you lose your voice.
Right. Well, what do you mean? What? The crowd are dead whilst a golden oldie wanders around the ring? So that's pretty much like Raw and her.
It sounds like WCW, to be honest.
Oh, don't be like that. Oh, but you know what? To be honest, right? What was interesting this week was that my feed was just like kind of caked in Sunny. I'm not implying that she's fat or anything, but I'm implying that there was just loads of pictures from when she used to be in the WWE. She was retweeting loads of them. It's a shame how things have gone, really, to be honest with you.
I forgot you were following that as well.
Yeah, well, anyway.
I miss out on all that. It's just when people tag us in stuff like that, it's just, I have to sit through it, and it's never the good stuff. It's always X-rated rubbish that's just tweeting out.
Yeah, the bits that you love, though, isn't it?
I prefer it when she just talks wrestling, which isn't very often.
Oh no, but there's a couple of things, because obviously we've kicked off with the biggest segment in wrestling history, and we've had this week. This is almost like Sonny's news. Is that we've got we've got the J-Man who's written to her. So you can see that people are inspired by what we've created here.
You are corrupting young minds all over the country and across the world.
It's like a movement. So he's written to her asking, what does he ask for? Some sort of endorsement, hasn't he?
I think he wants to make him a promotional video for YouTube.
Oh my, really? Is that not? He's maybe on the wrong sort of tube to have that promotional video.
I think he could be. I think he's mixing them up.
So we've got that, and then we have, of course, got the infamous Sunny's tweets. But did you know as well that she's selling her Hall of Fame ring on like eBay or something?
I did hear this news this week.
What the fuck?
Well, she's just in it for the money, isn't she?
I should have said for the fuck. What the fuck?
You should have tweeted her. Like, if J-Man gets up close and personal, you can always ask her, find out what's the deal behind it.
I have like the most. I was going to say something along the lines of he could maybe try and slip his finger from her, and then it all goes double entendres.
What?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Well, yeah, we was talking about rings. We was talking about fingers.
I don't know where you're going with this, Delzinski. Poor J-Man. Poor J-Man.
Poor J-Man. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, what we should make sure that we do, obviously, say to the J-Man is, be safe. Be safe. You never know what you're going to get up to on Skype. And also, if you do get any success, please do let us know. And as I said, I will live up to my promise. I will make the effort to get you a Delzinski approved shirt sent to you. If you do somehow magically seal this deal.
Where are you going with all these?
Not sure.
I don't know what you're hinting at.
Well, he doesn't know what he's bargaining for at the moment, does he? Really, to be honest, he's not sure what he's going to get back.
I don't think any of them know what he's going to get back. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does get back, though. It could be pretty interesting to watch it.
I bet you are. So, I mean, that has brought us very nicely to the Tammy's tweets, or the. But I had another name for it, and I've forgotten it now.
See, we're already quite way into this, and you haven't even got the first tweet. Look at all this promotion we give Sonny. Our business must be booming.
It must be. It must be booming. Yeah, it must be booming. So anyway, I think it was a shout out to Tubatelli, who's got one of the best Twitter names, Tubatelli, because he gave us this Tubatastic. He gave us this Tubatastic tweet this week from Sonny, which was, it's hard for me to describe because it's got a picture in it, but basically it's got a picture of this chappie.
It's got pizza in it.
Picture. A picture of this chappie and this lady, and she's a little bit of a bigger lady, let's say that. She's not that big, I mean, right? And he's tweeted, this geezer's tweeted, "Chubby chaser, need love too," right? And I guess he's implying that the lady in the picture needs some love. And then Sonny replied, "Oh my God, how can he find the hole?" And then, but what gets better is, I find the tweet is always nice, but when you go and look at the other tweets that people have sent, this geezer's absolutely nailed it, because she's obviously said that, and he's come back and said, "You were that size once, not too long ago." So, I mean, it's just she doesn't really hold back on Twitter. She's just completely and utterly harsh. There was another one, but it was a bit too extreme. So
too extreme. I can't even imagine what that could be, considering some of the other things that you mentioned, especially last week. How can it be more extreme than that?
No, she can excel herself. So I mean, if you fancy a treat, then check out Sonny's tweets. They're always there for some sort of entertainment. I don't get it, to be honest, in terms of her, why she decides to spark off with everybody, but nevertheless, it leads to endless entertainment.
Well, some find it entertaining.
You find it entertaining. You love it.
I'm trying to avoid this. I'm going to have to block anyone that sends us Sonny's tweets in future.
Blatantly old keyboard warrior over here is,
starting with you,
at this very moment, just Googling away, trying to find out where Sonny's ring is. That's what he's doing at the moment.
I'm not doing anything at all.
What's that noise?
I didn't hear anything.
Blatantly. He's definitely looking it up right now. Anyway, let's move on from Sonny's ring and and let's talk about some wrestling stuff because
I thought you were going to transition into another ring that's going to be given out at WrestleMania.
What ring?
Some big Hall of Fame news.
Oh, you want to talk about the Hall of Fame stuff now?
Well, we might as well transition if we're going with Hall of Fame rings.
Oh, excelente. Let's talk about it then. So, this week, finally, something awesome. It may mean that he's not having another match. It may very well mean that. But, yes, Sting is being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I think that there isn't ever a shadow of a doubt that he didn't deserve to go in the Hall of Fame, regardless of not his time in WWE. I think we have to remember that he is a legend of the ring, and he's done so much for the business. So I was just, after getting to see Sting live in the UK and seeing how humble he is, I think it's amazing. I think it's really awesome that WWE are honouring him, and I hope that it's going to be Ric Flair that puts him in, because Ric Flair said on his podcast that he would love to induct Sting, so I would think he would be a good one to go with.
Yeah, I think Ric Flair would be an awesome one to induct him into it. It's really cool that they're actually going with this and they're putting Sting in there now, because he's someone that really does deserve it. And I like the fact that they're not holding back from like doing this and holding off for a couple of years and actually going with it now, which is really cool. I don't know if we'll get another WrestleMania match from Sting, but it would be so cool if they do that. And if not, just having him in the Hall of Fame, it's a great way to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really too sure how his health is. I think he did require some sort of surgery. I don't know if he's had that surgery, but regardless, this had to happen, and I think it's nice that it's sooner rather than later. So yeah, I thought it was great. It was good to see that Sting tweeted out as well that he's accepted it. And just to touch on the kind of the transition that we had, I find it, in all honesty, completely disrespectful that someone's going to sell their ring on eBay. I just respect the industry no matter whatever you think of WWE these days. So to go in the Hall of Fame, it's an honour, and I'm sure Sting will take that honour properly and do it exactly how it should be done, as opposed to being disrespectful like we've just seen someone do. So I can't wait. I'm super excited. This is if I ever had an opportunity to go to the Hall of Fame ceremony, this would be the one I want to go to, just to see Sting be inducted, because he's super humble, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how emotional he gets, because he's a really cool guy, and it's not like, I don't think in previous years we've had a lot of stars where we've kind of sat at the Hall of Fame ceremony wondering what they're going to say, because they haven't always seen eye to eye with the WWE. Whereas with Sting, I don't think you're going to get that. I think you're just going to get quite an honest talk about his career. I don't think it'll be too controversial. He seems very happy with everything that's happened. Even like I say, that WrestleMania loss, which I said I'm over it, but maybe not a little bit.
You're not over it. You'll never be over it.
Yeah.
Sting will be over it before you are. I think
he is. He is.
It's something that, like you said, the way that Sting is, I think he's like such a nice, humble guy. I don't think he would like dare bring up anything that, well, he wouldn't even say it in private. I don't think he is that kind of person. It's just something that when he gets the chance to go up there, I think he's just going to take this as like a really big honor to actually be inducted and have that opportunity just to go up there, say some things about his career, thank all the people that's ever helped him out through his career and made it possible. I don't think he like holds any sort of feelings of regret about what happened and the injury, WrestleMania, everything else. And I think he's happy with it, and I think if he gets the chance to have another WrestleMania match, I think he'd definitely be up for it. I think it's something that if he can go through with it, it's something that'd be really cool to see in the future. And it's just something that overall, Hall of Fame for Sting, it's been a long time coming. Even when he was in TNA, there was people saying he should be inducted into the Hall of Fame, regardless of if he's never wrestled in WWE. Now he has. It's strengthened his case. He's got that nomination to go in this year, and I just think it's awesome. It's awesome to see him come up there, and I'm just looking forward to the Hall of Fame, seeing who else gets inducted as part of this class, because starting off with Sting, it's an awesome start, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes.
Yeah, and I think as well, it's not many times where we get someone that goes in where a lot of people can say that there's not really a bad word to say about him. You can't ever really pinpoint anything where you think, oh, Sting was at fault for that, or Sting was a bit controversial here. I think it's one of those times where you just think genuine decent guy, and you don't get too many of them in the wrestling industry. A lot of them have skeletons in the closet, and you think to yourself, well, he just deserves it. He deserves to be there. Like you say, it's interesting that he's the first one, because I was going to say to you, do you think he's the biggest one going in this year? Because it would lead me to think that he is kind of a big deal still, and obviously as well, he still could maybe wrestle again, so he's very much an active talking point. Do you see anyone outdoing him this year in terms of inductions?
I don't think so. I think usually they start off with like pretty much the biggest name.
Donald Trump again, maybe?
I can't quite say that.
Oh.
He should be removed, I would say.
Definitely.
I think like Sting will probably be the biggest one, and I think he's going to be the star of this. I don't know who else they're going to really go with.
That's the
I don't know if there's anyone that really like stands out. Is there anyone that you can think of that you think should be inducted this year, especially?
Especially, not so much. Especially, there's a lot of campaigns and things for certain superstars to go in the Hall of Fame, but I off the top of my head, in terms of just being this year, I don't have anyone that I think that's a must this year. I'd still like to see, Ravishing Rick Rude go in there, but I'm never going to get that. I don't think.
I'm trying to think of like people that I would like to see in there. There's not a lot of names that kind of jump out at the minute. Like, I think it means more when time passes and they're going like a little bit later on. Like a lot of people that I can kind of think of, I would still say it's a bit too soon.
A lot of the ones that you would, though, try and put in, there seems to be circumstances why they haven't put them in. Like, even ones that, aren't with us anymore, it's like WWE holding fire to really do it properly. Particularly, I think most of the time it usually depends on families and stuff. Like, I'm looking at thinking like a lot of the Hart family still, we're still lacking a few from there, and I think that should have already been done. Yeah,
well, I think Owen Hart especially, he should have been in there. It's just, I don't think it's down WWE. I think they're quite happy to put him in there.
British Bulldog, is he there?
Yeah, Bulldog as well. It's just a case of like, is it Martha, like Owen's wife? That's kind of stopping things. I think if it wasn't for her, I think he'd have already been inducted. But I think there'll be a time when he does get inducted anyway. I think it's just a case of waiting until the time passes and she does decide that it is best to kind of honour Owen's career and do that, as opposed to just letting people forget about him, which I don't think is a good thing at all.
Yeah, I mean, they released a DVD on him, so I mean, it would be. I would rather they just induct him in the Hall of Fame and show him some of that respect and try and make money out of it. You know what I mean? So I'd rather that be the sort of thing that they do, because they're willing to make DVDs now. I'd rather it be the other way around. I'll tell you something interesting. Just mentioning Owen Hart. I was listening to just the other day about I was listening to some of the old like Nation of Domination themes, and Owen had some. When The Rock had his Nation, and Owen Hart was in it, and it was just before I think that Enough is Enough, it's time for a change theme. There's some really interesting ones. Like Owen Hart had one where he's talking over the track. I used to love all of those themes that The Rock had built, like had for his like Nation. They were really cool.
Yeah, they were awesome.
So like, I'm not really keen on The Rock's like current theme and stuff, but all that stuff back then was just awesome. And he sort of, I don't know what it was. It was like that wah noise. That's as good as you can get.
I can't do any better. Not with a sore throat.
But yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool to just hear like Owen's voice over the track, because I haven't really seen a lot of Owen Hart stuff for quite some time. So yeah.
Well, it'd be cool just to sit back and watch that new DVD that they're putting out. I still think it's like kind of strange to see them putting out that DVD. I thought maybe that'll signal like a change and kind of featuring more Owen stuff, and maybe eventually getting that induction into the Hall of Fame, especially now that things are sort of on the right track with Bret Hart. But I don't know, I guess maybe it's something they just own the rights to, so they can do that without any consent.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's bit by bit with Owen. You don't know what's going on behind, closed doors. So, but I mean, he's definitely got to go in there at some point. But I mean, as for this year, it'll be exciting to see who else goes in with Sting. I think it's great. I'm really looking forward to it. I really actually enjoy the Hall of Fame ceremony. I very much think the Slammies should be like the Hall of Fame, because if they did it like that, you could get it a lot more exciting than this crap that we got at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, they used to do it like that. They used to get everyone in a hall and stuff, and have a bit of a bit of a laugh. It's a bit more light-hearted than the Hall of Fame, but now it's just cheap. So I like the whole aspect where it's like the wrestlers are paying respect to other wrestlers, as long as the crowd don't fuck it up, because sometimes they're a bit inappropriate. But
Well, I think that's what's kind of missing with it. I think the Slammies in the past, when we got that, it made it feel like an occasion, whereas now it just feels like it's part of Raw. It's part of like the storylines of what's going on. There's not really much behind it, and if someone wins it, I don't think it has any kind of prestige as it used to. I think it's just a case of they put that vote out there. This person's won it. Fair enough, that's it. Like, it doesn't really mean too much. Whereas back in the days when Owen Hart was the Slammy Award winner and things, it felt so much more. It felt like, everyone wanted to be that Slammy Award winner. Where now, I don't think it really feels anything like that.
I tend to have always been under the impression that Slammies are a bit of a joke. Like, I've tend to always feel like it's a bit like a. Do you remember like Noel Edmonds, like Noel's House Party, and
Yeah.
a gotcha? Do you remember that? He used to give those awards.
I think it's probably a little bit better than that.
Yeah, probably. But I just tend to feel that they're a bit jokey. Like, even the term slammy is a bit jokey. But I mean, if they'd always promoted it as like a prestigious award, it would feel good. But I don't feel that they really promote it that well. So it just feels like a cheap, pointless award, and it's tacky,
It does. It's just, I don't know. I think like in the past, I kind of thought it meant a bit more. Whereas now, it is just really crap and tacky.
Owen was proud to have him, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I think it all comes down to the rest. I think if you're in that position, you would want to win one. Where even if it doesn't mean as much as it did, I still think that's a cool thing. It just validates you for your accomplishments throughout the year.
Yeah, and it's a lot like, I guess, like the King of the Ring, though. It's like the novelty's worn off on them because people don't respect the actual what comes with it. So, with the King of the Ring, it used to come with like that respect, but now it's become a bit of a jokey thing. With the Slammies, it's like, it's just, yeah, it could be so good, but they haven't really got it right at the moment.
Yeah, it's a shame because I think it's a good idea. It's just not executed very well.
Yes, indeed. So, I mean, yeah, all in all, I think we're very much happy to see Sting in the Hall of Fame. Who would you like to see induct him into the Hall of Fame? Let us know over the comment section below. I think Ric Flair is definitely the odds-on favourite to do so. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to get your views on that. Now, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about Roman Reigns, All or Nothing. The odds just keep on being stacked more and more against Roman. Roman keeps on getting there bit by bit and knocking them down. Obviously, we are now potentially culminating to the Beast coming round to Royal Rumble time. How much more can they stack against Roman, and how much more can Roman knock it down until he finally does fall down?
I don't know. I think he's going to keep on knocking them down at the minute. I think they've only got a week or so to go now, so they've only got one more Raw to actually fill out. I think we're just going to see Reigns again kind of standing tall and coming over these odds. He didn't quite make it against Brock on Raw, but I think he's stood up to McMahon's and Stephanie, and I think he's going to carry on doing that leading into the Rumble, where they're eventually just going to put everyone up against him and try and get him out first, because then we're guaranteed a new champion. But it makes me think that it's got that feeling of what happened with Vicky Guerrero and AJ Lee, where she stacked the odds against AJ going into WrestleMania and put pretty much the entire Divas division up against her, and she still come out on top. She still retained the title. I think it could be the same kind of situation, and Reigns walks out the champion. Brock's the only person I can legitimately see actually eliminate him from the Rumble and win the title. But I don't know. I've got a feeling that Reigns might actually do this. It'll make him look strong.
Yeah. That's my biggest concern, because it would just be so predictable. I do not want to see another predictable Royal Rumble. And people were like, well, the championship's on the line, so it makes it not predictable. But I think it almost could make it more predictable, because why would you go so far with Roman to then take it off him. I tend to think that taking it off him would do him the world of good, because there's going to be a point where people, I think I said it last week, will start going off of the fact that he keeps on overcoming the odds, or as a champion. So people will want to cheer him when he's, had the belt stole from him once again. So I kind of think that taking the belt of him would help him keep over with the fans. The more they keep the belt on him and people get bored of him, then they're going to start booing him again.
They will, but it's if you give the title to someone like Brock Lesnar that everyone's going to be behind.
Yeah.
Then if he was to lose the title to Reigns, people's going to be disappointed again because they want to see Brock as the champion.
Well, and that's the other thing. I was going to say, it's an odd choice to pitch him against the Beast, because everyone's going to cheer Brock. So you've done all this again. You've worked your ass off to to get to this situation where you've got Roman over, and then you go and sling Brock Lesnar in there, and Brock's obviously the guy that everyone cheers for.
I think the only way to kind of put it into anything that makes sense is they haven't really got a big heel that they can have go up against him. There's no one kind of on the roster that they can use in that position, because Brock's not really a heel. I think Seth Rollins was really the only one. And with Seth being out injured, they kind of go down that route. So they've kind of been forced to put Brock in there and for him to go up against Brock. And I think it's going to hurt Reigns if he does go up against Brock at WrestleMania, because everyone's going to be wanting Brock to win it.
When I found out Brock's going to be in a Royal Rumble, I want him to win the Royal Rumble. That's just a straight fact. I think potentially Brock will go through this period of just chucking them all out, and then all of a sudden Roman somehow manages to dump him over the top rope. But if Roman wins, it's not that I really hate the idea of it. I just think I can't be dealing with another predictable Royal Rumble. How many years have we had to put up with predictability in Royal Rumbles and end up thinking, God, this wasn't very good? Do you know what I mean? That's my concern.
Well, that's the thing. We've talked about the Sammys and how they used to be. I think the Royal Rumble, it used to feel unpredictable because you didn't really know who was going to win it. And you could have like two guys that were, established stars at the time, or like up a mid-card, come out on top and win it. And it wasn't as like nailed on as the fact that, we're pretty much sure that it's going to be Reigns or Brock that kind of win this. So when you get that, it just takes away from the Royal Rumble. And I think it kind of spoils it, because the Royal Rumble was all about, giving someone that opportunity that didn't maybe like already have that main event spot. Whereas now it seems to be used for someone that's, already there and doesn't really need it.
Yeah, and the thing is now is because they tried to pitch it on Raw that like Brock, the idea was that whoever wins the Royal Rumble would face Brock Lesnar, and then in the end, obviously, Brock decided to come out and destroy everyone. I think in that moment when Brock tried to destroy everybody, they just ruined one of the best feuds they could have had, which was Kevin Owens versus Brock Lesnar, because he just went through Owens like he was another jobber.
He did, but I think Owens isn't like the established main eventer that I think he would need to be to have that match with Lesnar.
But I would have liked if they just, let Owens duck out of there and be the smart guy, the one that doesn't, go toe-to-toe with Brock at that point, or a stare down and just backs off and says, look, to be honest, you can do what you like.
He did get a few shots in, though. I was surprised at that. I think Lesnar kind of looked at him as well to say, what are you doing hitting me? Like, just let us suplex you.
But that to me is a bit like, I wanted it. I wanted that to be more than what it was. I wanted it to be an epic moment when those two collide. Now I just feel like, well, Brock's going to beast him. So, bit disappointed that they went and did that. So, but nevertheless, Brock obviously did F5. Roman Reigns. He's made that statement. Is he going to be the corporate guy? Have they turned to Brock Lesnar, or is it still going to be game time when the Royal Rumble comes around and Triple H is still going to be their man? I'm gathering somebody's going to dump Brock out. Just wondering, don't be predictable again and be Roman Reigns.
Well, if someone does take Lesnar out the Rumble, I think the only person it could really be is Roman Reigns. I don't really see anyone like else. Maybe
Wyatts,
social outcasts.
The Wyatts I would like to see do that. Because did you not notice that they didn't go in the ring when that, when everyone else was like getting involved in the Roman thing, the Wyatts were just kind of sitting there watching it all happen and watching it pass by.
Yeah, but I think it makes sense. I think they've had like so many losses.
They don't want another one.
Keep out of there. They don't want to face Brock Lesnar.
But I guess adding Brock to the mix, I gather WWE thinks that this adds that element of you're not sure now if Reigns can win it. But I'm still kind of secretly hoping that Triple H is involved in this, because it would add a swerve where I feel that anything could happen. I think unless Triple H gets involved, I still think Reigns is going to win this.
Well, I think that is like the other option. I think we've got Reigns, we've got Lesnar. I think Triple H is someone that could maybe get involved, cost Reigns this match, and actually win the title at the same time. And that does set up the match between Reigns and Triple H. The problem here is that because Lesnar's back, I see him being in the main event of WrestleMania, and I don't see we're getting a triple threat. I don't think that would make sense. The only kind of options I can see here is Triple H eliminating Reigns, and then Triple H getting eliminated, and that leaves Brock to win the title. But then who does Brock face at WrestleMania?
Well, that's it. That's the door that they've left open, is that we don't really know what the main event would be, even after the outcome of the Royal Rumble. Now, usually it's a case of that the Royal Rumble winner goes on and we've got our main event booked, whereas this time around it will be, well, we crown a champion, but who determines who's going to face that champion? So it's going to be quite a long road to WrestleMania this time round, because we've still got to determine that. So I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing, that we can still have a lot of thought what's going to happen over the next few months. But I just always in the back of my mind, Royal Rumble, concerning that the whole thing will be predictable, and I'll just sit at the end scratching my head thinking, God damn it, you messed it up again.
Well, I think that's what we're probably thinking at the end of the Royal Rumble anyway. It seems to be like so hard to get like a result that the crowd's going to get behind. And I mean, we had news this week that Daniel Bryan may be getting his release from WWE. Daniel Bryan's someone that would obviously make a lot of fans happy. I would actually like to see that. And if we do get Triple H and Reigns as a match that's not for the title and Lesnar picks up the title, I think it'd be a brutal test for Bryan, but Bryan and Brock, that would be pretty cool. I don't know if his neck could survive.
Yeah, I think there was, I don't know who broke that news about Daniel Bryan. I think it was What Culture, but I think that it's been squashed, that there was no way that Daniel Bryan was asking for his release.
Well, the latest I heard on it was that Bryan had asked for his release,
right.
But I think it was Dave Meltzer had come out and says WWE denied it. So that kind of says to me that
he wants to wrestle.
Bryan, yeah, it says Bryan wants to wrestle, but it also says that the WWE have told him we're not planning on clearing it anytime soon, and that's why he's kind of put that release note in there, the request for it. Well, because I think if they had told him, we're going to give you another go with the doc to see if we can actually clear you, and maybe you can return at the Rumble or after the Rumble, I think you'd have been happy with that. But I think it's probably frustration building up that he's not getting cleared, and that they've said that they're not going to actually clear him anytime in the near future.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair to WWE, why would you risk it now? Why? Not the injury side, but why would you risk bringing Daniel Bryan back now when you know what happened in previous year, where you brought Daniel Bryan back, he got eliminated, and it completely killed Roman Reigns. You don't want to detriment Roman Reigns after all this effort to get the crowd cheering for him. If they even let slip that Daniel Bryan's going to make a return, I mean, everyone will be booing again. Everyone will be booing Roman Reigns, and it will be the Daniel Bryan show one more time. They cannot afford to do that. So from a business point of view, I can see absolutely why they don't want him back at this second. Yeah,
it makes total sense. And I think from WWE's point of view, there is no need to rush him back. Just give him the time to recover. And even though he says he's ready and he's fit, I think maybe it's just a case of Bryan wants to get back because it's kind of killing him not being able to wrestle when he's done it for so many years. I think the WWE is smart in just giving him this extra time and making him wait.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see how it unfolds with Daniel Bryan. Like I say, we don't know the extent of his injuries and, which doctor is the correct one. They're saying his doctor knows that he's okay to wrestle, but the WWE doctor says otherwise. So, again, we only get the leaked news, and it sounds like this leaked news was hit and miss a little bit, but I as I say, I can't see WWE taking any huge risks on Daniel Bryan. Number one, they don't want to have any sort of lawsuits on their hand if something went wrong with Daniel Bryan when he comes back. And number two, at the moment, storyline-wise, it would just be ludicrous to try and fit him in when Roman Reigns has done quite well, I have to admit, in getting himself cheered. And Vince McMahon has done quite well in getting him cheered at the moment. So, yeah, I hope Daniel Bryan does come back because I really like Bryan, but I just think now is not the time.
Yeah, I don't think it makes sense. I think it sucks for Bryan, but I would say wait until after WrestleMania and then have him come back.
Yeah, and I mean, surely he can see that as well. Surely he can see the way that the way that things have gone. But wait and see. It'll be a good way to kind of kick off Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. Have Daniel Bryan come back.
It would be perfect start.
Exactly. So, let's kind of talk about something that everyone's been going crazy about, and this achieved something that WWE really didn't want to. Because on SmackDown, Kalisto won the United States Championship on Raw, and he lost it on SmackDown. And on the YouTube video, it's received 9,000 likes, but 17,000, close to 18,000, by the way, dislikes on the fact that Alberto Del Rio then won the belt back on SmackDown. And that's got like that's got, we're talking about in the 400,000 view area here, and 17,000 dislikes. Wow, that's a lot of disgruntled people out there seeing Kalisto lose that belt and not being happy with it. And I think with good reason, because I actually thought it was quite exciting that they give the belt to Kalisto, because I think that Kalisto has got that element of Rey Mysterio about him. It was cool that he could have the belt, maybe have a little bit of a run, and you could do his run that his high flying, fast pace and stuff gets him through matches. But I don't know why they did it. I don't know why they bothered, because to then give the belt back to Del Rio and in the manner that they did that, I don't get it. Any ideas?
It makes no sense whatsoever,
ideas?
does it?
It doesn't.
I think, like, everyone that's disliked it's the right thing to do, just to kind of send a message, not just the fact that you don't like it, but to give the creative team a message and say, we want change, we want to see new stars get pushed, we want to see people like Kalisto, that's exciting to watch, and someone that hasn't had that chance to have a singles run, especially now that Sin Cara's out, and it gives them that chance. They don't have to break up the Lucha Dragons or anything, they can just have a kind of trial run, see how it goes. And I think it was a perfect opportunity. It was great when he won it on Raw, and then not just hearing that you lost it and being down at that, but the fact that they spoiled it as well. So anyone that was waiting for SmackDown gets it all spoiled. It just adds to it, and it's like, why do that? There's no need to have him win the title one night and then drop it the next. It's crazy. And when you think that SmackDown had debuted the week before, and it was kind of highlighted as a big show with title matches, there was like the Divas Championship on the line, it would have been the perfect show to actually have Kalisto win it then, because he did face Del Rio, but they didn't have the title on the line. They waited for Raw for some reason. So it was kind of strange to me that everything about this, that they've waited till Raw to have him win the title, and then they've dropped it on SmackDown. I think the only way to correct it is maybe have a title match at the Royal Rumble and let Kalisto win it back, and actually keep it for longer than a day this time.
And you had particular issues with the way that Del Rio beat Kalisto in that match on SmackDown, didn't you?
Well, I think the one thing I noticed the second time I watched it, and when I watched the clip on YouTube, it was like halfway through the video, you see him get rolled back in the ring, and Del Rio gets to put the cross arm breaker on, and it's literally as soon as he applies it, before he's even applied it and hit the mat, Kalisto's tapping out. And it was like, what's going on there? Why is he tapping out? Is this an injury or something like that? It was crazy. I don't know. I've never seen anyone tap out as fast as that.
See, I think if you're going to go down that route and he is going to give up, then you do it in a way that it makes Kalisto look like he's fought like so valiantly, because he's captured this gold and he's trying his best. So if you have him in that armbar, he goes to the limit, like he's in it for like a good few minutes, and then eventually either he passes out or he taps out. If they just did that, at least you could then say, well, he tried. Whereas with this, it looked like, it's instant tap out. It's Cena-esque, the minute Cena used to put the STFU on people, they'd be going boom, 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 giving up straight away. I mean, I hate it when anybody does that, because if you've got any passion and any drive to, like, particularly if you're a champion, you are not going to give up at the first second.
Well, that's the thing, like, especially when you've got that championship, then it kind of drives you on to not want to lose it, and you kind of go that extra mile. This just, it didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. It was kind of like they kind of buried Kalisto in that moment, even though he's had a great run. They've kind of pushed him. It just didn't make sense. You would expect that to be like the scenario where they're trying to bury someone, and I just don't get it. It made no sense at all. Just, at least if he's going to lose, have him do it so that, you know, he's put everything into this match, and he's been put in this submission so many times. He's fought out of it. He's managed to get the ropes. Not just like slap it on and then he's tapping out before it's even applied.
And what's this done really, all in all, for Del Rio? Like, I mean, I think for Del Rio, like, it hasn't really done a lot for him. Like, he's dropped the belt, he's won it back, but
it doesn't do anything, does it?
Yeah, he doesn't get like anything from this. He would be better off just retaining the belt and keeping the belt and having matches and continuing to win.
I don't think he even needed the belt in the first place when he come back.
Yeah, probably not. But I mean, the League of Nations is just atrocious. I mean, they're not nothing really. There's nothing that's this faction's awful. I'd get rid of them.
I think like this is one of the factions where there hasn't been a plan for it, and they're just kind of rolling with it week from week. And I don't think it's going to be around for much longer, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you what I did notice, actually, just to quickly go a little bit off topic, Daz. You know when we were talking about Roman and his All or Nothing, Sheamus was the one that stood toe-to-toe with Brock the best. And obviously I think that they just had their match on a house show. And I think he busted Brock open as well. I thought that potentially looked like a good feud. I wouldn't mind seeing that properly, that sort of match played out, because it looked like that's where I was thinking Owens could stand toe to toe, but it was Sheamus the one that went a bit with Brock before Brock got the advantage and plexed him. So
yeah, no, I think that's like fair. I think those two would have like a decent match. It'll be a very physical match. I think the crowd really get behind that. It's just at the same time, I don't know if it's just Sheamus, but Sheamus doesn't really have that big star feel, even if he is in the main event. Even when he was a champion, I kind of didn't see him as that big star and just a transitional champion. I don't know if him and Brock Lesnar, it doesn't feel like a big match, especially a WrestleMania match.
It's because I think with Sheamus, and well, obviously we'll go back to Kalisto in a second, but I think with Sheamus, the issue with Sheamus for me is he looks so doofusy. Like, I mean, it's the hair. Like I always think there comes a point when sometimes WWE try and turn someone that's got that dodgy look to like legitimate, and they kind of did it in a way a bit with like Kurt Angle. Like, you know when Kurt Angle used to have like he had his sort of hair, and he was all a bit funny, and then all of a sudden when they shaved his head and everything, he kind of went into a bit more serious mode. And I think that, like, I know Sheamus is kind of, you know, he's not really a funny guy, but when you look at him, you don't think, like, you don't take him seriously. Like, Brock Lesnar comes through and you think, fucking hell, I need to take this guy seriously. Everything about him's serious. Whereas Sheamus, it's like, I know that he likes to knock lumps out of people, but I can't take him seriously with that ridiculous mohawk. So, like, I kind of want that moment when they just decide to, like, do away a bit with like, the full-on pastiness and the stereotypes and start just making him badass Sheamus, you know?
Yeah, I think it's something that eventually they're going to need to do, just to kind of freshen him up and give him that more serious thing, because it kind of worked when he come back with this new look.
It did work at the beginning.
They just messed it up, and they didn't really change anything about his character aside from the look itself. And it's kind of just slipped back to the way it was. I don't think it's really anything special at all. I think it's just something that we need to change again, because it has just evolved into you look stupid.
Well, it's got just so awful with the fact that when he was champion, he's lost his reign. I know he's getting like a rematch, but it doesn't feel like he's going to win that, and he's really not had any upper hand since he lost the belt. He's established the League of Nations. The League of Nations have done nothing to help him. It's almost like, you know, he's in that downward spiral again now. He's going to sink lower and lower. So, I mean, they haven't done anything to help him. They've decided to book him in. I personally feel that giving him the belt just so he can pass it on to Reigns is, if I was Sheamus, I'd be pretty pissed at that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, I felt he was a transitional champion all the time. So I kind of seen that coming anyway. But if you're Sheamus and that's the case, it's not good.
Well, someone said to me, "Oh, it's fine because he's established as a top guy, so he'd be in the top mix." Well, no, that's not the point, though, is it? If you were if you were that champion and you were told, "Oh, you've only got a couple of weeks, so we can pass it over to Roman Reigns," you feel really, disappointed. You've waited all that time, and that's what you get. Particularly like Kalisto and getting back onto him. I mean, imagine how he feels. Holds the belt for one match, and next minute he's lost it. It's well disheartening.
It's just bad booking.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I mean, they've made these efforts and stuff to try and get, the good commentary team and stuff like that on SmackDown, and then they go and let themselves down by putting on a poor match.
Well, it's just something that we kind of come to expect now. It seems to happen all the time. I'm starting to get used to it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the thing is, I think the thing that everyone was excited about with Kalisto is it would be fresh, it would be different. It's a different type of United States champion, someone that will bring out that high-flying moves, and it will move us away from more of like your Cena-based, your Del Rio-based guys who are kind of more, they just kind of stand and submissions and things like that. We'd be looking at more like Kalisto utilising his speed and agility.
Yeah, well,
we've lost that.
I think that's the issue with it. I think when you've got the Intercontinental Championship and you've got the US Championship, so similar. Whereas Kalisto is someone that's a perfect fit for a Cruiserweight Championship. And I think if they had that in there, I think without a doubt, he would be that Cruiserweight Champion. And it's something different. It's a different type of match, a different style. That's what I want to see. But give him the US Championship back. I mean, Royal Rumble comes around. I think he's got to win it and just keep things a bit different. Because, fair enough, it's the US Championship. It's not a Cruiserweight Championship. But we're going to get those different kind of styles in the matches that we're going to get with, the Intercontinental Championship matches. So I'm all for that, all for Kalisto winning it back and getting a second reign. And I think this time they should do it right and really give him a push. Just see how he goes, because I think he's got a huge future. And everyone compares him to Rey Mysterio. I think he's got all the elements to be a huge star on his own without those comparisons to Mysterio. And I think if he is given that chance and he gets that singles run, I think they're going to come to realise that.
Yeah, I think they've got to rectify the situation, and we don't know. Possibly they could be going for like a back and forth with Del Rio and stuff, but I don't really like that sort of chop and change title reigns, because you have like someone who's a 2-time champ for being like a champ for 30 seconds.
Like Roman Reigns.
Yeah, so it to me it's just a bit cheap and a bit short, and then you have like people getting to the levels of like your John Cena's where they're like established to like 16 times or 15 times, and it's imagine what Roman Reigns could be like if they bounced the belt off him a couple of times. He could be up in the 20s,
Yeah.
So that's to me is not ideal. So yeah, I mean, it was very disappointing. I think the WWE Universe have voiced their opinion on it clearly via social media that they're disgusted by the decision. So hopefully WWE take note.
Hopefully.
Now, moving on, we're going to go down and talk about NXT, because the news this week is that Luke Gallows, or Doc Gallows, whichever one you want to call him, and Carl Anderson will be going to NXT. Whether that means they'll be part of the Balor Club or the Bullet Club, still WWE heavily promoting Bullet Club. Just to clarify, I think that Kenny Omega's Bullet Club in New Japan Pro Wrestling are still going under the Bullet Club banner, even though they're called the Elite. It's still Bullet Club first. So, with that being the case, it doesn't sound like WWE have got the rights to that name, but they're promoting it so much. It's surprising that they maybe haven't got a trick up their sleeve to establish getting these rights off of them. And obviously they've got the main guys. They've got the original guys. You've got Carl Anderson and Finn Balor, the guys that discovered the Bullet Club, and then Doc Gallows, who was a big part of it as well as a tag team partner to Carl Anderson. So if we see the Bullet or the Balor Club come to NXT, is that good? Will that help Finn Balor? I would say that he's got to turn heel if he does get his faction in there, because he was a good heel on New Japan.
Yeah, I think so. I think his character at the minute, it's starting to get a little bit stale. Like the demon stuff, I don't know if we talked about this recently.
A little bit, yeah.
But like I say, I think you need something that freshens him up. I think a heel run would be perfect. And to do that with the Balor Club, expanding that, I think that makes a lot of sense. So when I heard the news that these two are going to NXT, I thought that was the perfect scenario. I think it allows them to go to NXT, start off this Balor Club, which can then expand. And not only does it do that, but it also adds to what we've got in NXT with a great tag team division. So having them in there, where I think they're like 2-time IWGP champions.
Mm-hmm.
So, they've got that history behind them. Established tag team. It'll lead to some awesome matches in NXT. Plus, we've got that whole faction that can then run over NXT as a heel faction, kind of like the Wyatt family used to do. And they can always bring people in and add to it. So we've got the Bullet Club guys that, eventually make the debut. It also keeps AJ Styles kind of separate because he is the big star. He's the biggest one out of a lot of them. And I think he's someone that they don't really need to put in NXT. And when you've got Balor there as maybe a group leader, I think putting AJ in as well, you've kind of got two leaders. And I don't think that works too well. So I think AJ is someone that they can maybe push straight to the main roster and maybe even put in the Royal Rumble if they want to kind of rush things through with all these injuries that's going on.
Yeah, someone pitched to me, I think that it'd be quite a good idea if they had like a power struggle between AJ and Finn. But I think from my point of view is that AJ's kind of past that stage of bickering about being a leader for anything. I think he should just be focused on, going to the big leagues and winning the championship. So I'm glad that they're hopefully moving with AJ to the main roster. I think Bullet Club being together on the NXT or Balor Club will be cool. The only thing I hope is that people aren't going to treat Luke Gallows like by chanting stupid shit like Festus and all that sort of stuff, because I think he's done very well to distance himself for the crappy gimmicks he had in WWE, and it'd be a shame if he goes back there and then gets that crappy gimmicks being pushed at him and then eventually he falls away again.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's done well to kind of get rid of what we've seen in the past. I mean, in terms of Luke Gallows, I thought that was all right when he was with CM Punk. It was just the Festus stuff, but I think you kind of got rid of that in the WWE. So you kind of moved past that. Hopefully they don't make the same mistake second time around, because they've seen, how big a star he can be when he's in the Bullet Club and he's surrounded by these other guys. So, just stick to how he's been booked over the last couple of years. Don't really change it. Don't make things too drastic. And hopefully it'll stay on the right track and we won't get things ruined.
Well, if they're down in NXT, then you've got to hope Triple H knows what he's doing with them. And then on the other hand as well, Finn Balor's probably not going to want to advise them to come there if he knows they're going to get pushed down the ladder. So there's got to be things that have been planned to bring these guys in that have tempted them to sign for the WWE and NXT. So I think there's going to be some interesting stuff going on. Like I said, I think a Balor Club definitely warrants a heel Finn Balor, and whether or not they change the Demon in that course as well. I'm still definitely championing what I said last week, that you should have 3 versions of the Demon. You should have like a one of aggression, one of something else, and something else, and you have all of those, and then it adds more elements to the Demon when you do want to use it. But ultimately, if he's going to be a bad guy, then he should have a badder Demon. So I'm hoping that they can kind of think that and push Balor. Because, I mean, the way that Balor just comes across at the moment is he's just kind of cool, and he's like the cool kid on the block, and, all his Twitter and his Instagram kind of does that. He's got that face paint, looks good. But he does need something else to him. Like, he does need something legitimate in terms of storyline that can kind of keep him fresh. I think social media-wise is cool, but like you say, in terms of being a champion at the moment, we want to see him do something else.
Yeah, well, I think you mentioned social media there, so we're getting a lot more of his personality on social media as opposed to NXT. I think they just need to kind of give a little bit more on TV, just so we get a bit more of Balor himself and that personality, and it's not just all reliant on, the way he looks and the Demon and everything else. I think that's all they need to do. Don't have to go over the top, just little bits, and I think that really helps build his character, and it just gives him that progression that he needs.
Yeah, he's not much of a talker. We don't hear a lot from him. Considering he's a champion, you expect him to speak a lot more.
Yeah, you do, and we don't really get that. So hopefully that's something that does change, especially if he's a leader of this Bullet or Balor Club. Then it gives him that opportunity to have more mic time and kind of cut these promos, especially if the heel promos. I think he'll do well, and I think it's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. It's just, I don't know, I think in terms of like whether they go heel or face, I think he's going to work much better as a heel, especially cutting these promos. I just hope they don't try and make this like a face faction.
Well, yeah, because the Bullet Club doesn't sound right for a face faction, or even the Balor Club doesn't sound. They don't look like faces when they were all kitted out in black, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. Do you think they're going to keep the name Machine Gun as well? Because that's Carl Anderson, Machine Gun Carl Anderson. So
I think they'll probably drop that.
They'll
drop the machine gun. They'll drop the bullets. It's not very PG.
Well, yeah, I
don't want to promote war.
This is what I mean. That's the concern, is they start fudging around with these guys, and if you fudge around with them, then they lose all of that edginess that they come in with. So,
Water Pistol Carl Anderson.
Yeah, exactly. Super Soaker Carl Anderson. So that's a big concern, but hopefully Triple H can kind of get this through and get this sorted quickly, because the worst case scenario is these guys take that risk, leave New Japan, come here, and then they just get mid-carded and have all their gimmick and their shtick taken away from them. So
get ascensioned.
Indeed, that's the best example you could possibly give. If you end up like the Ascension, good God, it's just awful, isn't it? To be honest with you, it's really bad how they've declined over the year, over a year. So. But we'll see. Let us know by the comment section below what you think of Gallows and Anderson. If they go to NXT, would you like to see Finn Balor potentially turn heel? I think Paul thinks that it should happen that way. So, last but no means not least, we've got some WrestleMania news, haven't we?
We've got a few little bits. We know that The Rock's going to be there in some capacity, but don't know what he's going to be doing. And I think Steph maybe she kind of leaked something this week, because she says that she needs to get back in shape, ready for WrestleMania. And she took a photo on Instagram with her trainer. So it kind of got people talking that maybe Steph is going to be having a WrestleMania match this year. And obviously last year, if we go back to that, we know that The Rock's going to be at WrestleMania in some form. If Steph's there, we had the tease last year that maybe The Rock could be teaming up with a certain Ronda Rousey. So maybe we could see a mixed tag team match on the cards.
We could. That would be quite cool. Maybe that's the whole thing with The Rock hinting that he's going to make history, potentially. But then that would mean that Triple H wouldn't be Roman Reigns feuding it up either. So maybe they will go for the Triple H Rock, Stephanie and Ronda Rousey feud. And the only thing is if she can get cleared from UFC to do that.
Well, that is the thing. I think the UFC is the big kind of hurdle that's stopping this. But aside from that, if Steph is to have a match, I don't see what other match she could possibly have.
Yeah, unless she's going to pick some feud with a diva very soon, it's not like she's got any reason to have a match with anyone. She's not really focused on the Divas division, so I can't see that happening. So I would say that the only actual match on the table, unless she's having a match with Roman Reigns, is Ronda Rousey. And Rousey's not challenging, I don't think, for the UFC title at the moment, so could become reality.
I think it could be. I think it's just a case of
the money.
I think it's just the UFC really, whether or not they allow it. Because I think at the moment Rousey is still, I think she's not cleared to actually return to the octagon because of the knockout that she got with Holly Holm. Oh. So she's not cleared for that. I don't know if she'd be cleared to actually wrestle at the same time. So it all kind of depends on that and whether, of course, Dana White would allow that. I don't think he would. I think I was really surprised last year when she made an appearance and he's kind of like says that's okay for her to do. I think actually getting in the ring, I think that's something that you would say maybe that's crossing the line a little bit too much. You're under contract with the UFC and can't really allow that. I think maybe what WWE were kind of setting in place last year was if Rousey was to still go unbeaten and maybe walk away from the UFC. But obviously now it looks like she's going to have this huge rematch and that's going to be like a huge moneymaker for the UFC. So they're obviously not going to want her doing anything else promoting other companies when they're kind of riding on that as the next big main event. Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't be for UFC. I don't think it's worth their while doing anything or they don't get on, do they? WWE and UFC. So I don't see Dana White thinking to himself, "We'll do you a favor," because I don't think there's any favors to have from the UFC getting anything out of WWE. I don't think they get a lot of exposure I don't think they'll feel that happy that they get any exposure from that because they like to distance themselves from the WWE because obviously it's sports entertainment and they're supposed to be a legitimate sport. So yeah, I don't think we're going to get any sort of clearance if it's needed. So I don't know how they're going to negotiate this. I'm pretty sure Ronda Rousey will want to do it. It's just how she gets around the UFC.
Yeah, I think for that reason, I think it's going to be highly unlikely. Maybe Steph just wants to get back in shape anyway, and people's just kind of jumping at this as meaning a WrestleMania match. But aside from Rousey, I don't think it makes a lot of sense.
No, mate, she might wrestle CM Punk. I mean, he's got to be chomping.
She
at
could
the
be
bit.
his first fight in the UFC.
I know, because he's got to be chomping at the bit to come back, hasn't he? Because he's seen, like, Doc Gallows come in, someone that he championed a long time ago. Zack Ryder's doing a few bits now. So, I mean, surely it's not long until we see Punk coming back.
Well, I think that all depends on his first fight.
Yeah, because he's apparently, well, it's not confirmed who it is, but isn't he fighting the winner of a fight? They finally got him fighting, by the sounds of it.
It looks to be. He's already been announced for the video game, which got people talking because they weren't too happy about his rating, especially the fact that he's never actually had a fight. And I think he was used on like the promotional photo that was released when the game was like first. The news was kind of released last week about it, so he was used for that, and it was the first look at him that was seen. So there's a lot of people up in uproar about that. He wasn't. He was kind of his normal self on Twitter, just reacting to fans that were tweeting him, blocking a lot of fans. It's going to be interesting, I think. So as someone that isn't a fan of the UFC, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how he fights. But if it goes badly and he gets knocked out and he doesn't do very well, I think maybe he could return to wrestling. I think the relationship, though, is so sour. It's something that, it feels like even if he does want to return, I don't know if we'd actually see it.
No, the only thing I'd say with him is if... I think they're going to very much wrap him up in cotton wool. They're going to make sure he gets a win out of his first fight, surely. It's funny to me that you're using CM Punk to promote your UFC game when you've got guys like... I think Conor McGregor's like the cover guy, but the talk is all about Punk, So it's like, to me, it's like...
I think it's smart, though, because it's a new audience. It's getting in fans that aren't fans of the UFC. And it's got me and you talking about it, and we don't watch the UFC.
Yeah, I guess so. But I tend to just want to see how Punk gets on. I've been waiting such a long time to see if he's any good or not. Because, I mean, he's had a lot of criticism. A lot of people, even in the UFC, don't think he belongs there. He's not like a Brock Lesnar sort of guy. So... there's a lot of risks associated to this. If he doesn't fly, people will probably be like, well, he did what he wanted to do. He tried it, but he would probably consider it as a failure if he doesn't win.
Yeah, I think so. I think as like the way that Punk is, I think he's going to put in absolutely everything into this. And if he does lose that first fight, I think he would be absolutely devastated as well.
I imagine social media, if he lost, he would never hear the end of it.
You would never hear the end of it. I think that's his motivation for this. Like, I cannot lose. Like, Twitter's going to be a nightmare. I have to block the entirety of Twitter.
Wow. What was the other news? The last bit of news really this week is something about Stone Cold Steve Austin WrestleMania.
It was Stone Cold saying that he's 99% sure that he's going to be at WrestleMania in some capacity, but he doesn't know what just yet. So that means that we'll have The Rock there, we'll have Stone Cold there. As far as Stone Cold goes, though, not knowing what he's doing, he said he's definitely not going to be wrestling, but he does have an idea of what he wants to do at WrestleMania, and he's going to have a meeting with the WWE next week to kind of pitch that, although he doesn't know if they're actually going to approve it or not. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But it looks as though Stone Cold will be at WrestleMania along with The Rock. So even with all these injury crisis that's going on, a lot of big names getting taken out at WrestleMania, at least we've got Stone Cold and The Rock.
Yeah, I think it was massive to get Austin on board, obviously, for where it is, Texas. So it's good that he's going to be there. Just interesting what he's going to do. Is he just going to do something a bit like he did with The Rock and Hogan a while back? Is it going to build to a match of some sort? Is he going to help Roman Reigns and ultimately do Vince McMahon in?
Special guest referee?
Well, you never know, do you? We've seen all this build for the Attitude Era sort of style, Mr. McMahon versus Roman Reigns. Who wouldn't be surprised if Austin didn't come weighing in to help Roman Reigns Wonder how that would go down.
I think that'd be interesting. Like if we get something like Brock and Reigns or Brock and Triple H, then Stone Cold comes out. If Vince is trying to screw him over, maybe call for the bell. Austin just starts unleashing stunners. Stunners Reigns as well. Might as well go for the lot. Go for all three.
Well, that's it. Yeah, don't trust anybody. So I'm interested to see if that becomes the scenario that they have Austin, the original Rebel, come and help Roman Reigns. Whether that will get Reigns over, I don't know. It might make people think, oh, Austin, really? So it's interesting. At least we know that he's involved and he's going to be doing something. Whether or not it's going to be something that we think is right or wrong, we'll have to wait and see. But at least Austin's going to be there. The Rock's going to be there. So they are making the effort to get people invested and interested in WrestleMania, as opposed to just thinking we've got loads of injuries. What are we going to do?
Yeah, it does do that though. It sells like the pay-per-view as well, especially when you've got those big names on there and you've got like people like Brock Lesnar as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think there's a lot of different scenarios you can have with Lesnar, Reigns, Triple H, and then maybe throwing Stone Cold into the mix, The Rock as well. It's going to be interesting. Maybe we can have like The Rock come out in Roman Reigns' corner as well. So The Rock could get involved. We can have Rock and Stone Cold kind of battling out at WrestleMania. Maybe that'll set something up for like a year to come or something. That'd be really cool.
For some sort of reason, I thought he was going to say maybe we're going to get The Rock come out dressed as Roman Reigns.
Well, I think that'd work. We'll get a lot more personality.
Yeah, I don't know why, but that sort of just popped in my head. I was like, really? He's going to say this?
Just give him a wig. I'm sure he can wear the attire. That'd be pretty cool to see. I'd be up for that.
Oh dear, that would be interesting though. Have you got any sort of anything else to add on the Austin scenarios? Anything that you think could look cool? What would be interesting? What you'd like to see Austin do at WrestleMania?
I don't think so. I think those are really the only two options: either special guest referee and / enforcer, maybe that kind of role, or just coming down and kind of interfering in the match if Vince and other people are getting involved, just to kind of even the odds. I don't know if I say anything else. I would love to see a match, but it seems to be off the cards.
Yeah, I think something like that would suit. We don't really want a host. The hosts are always awful, to be honest with you. Never really does very much. So hopefully it's ain't involved in active storylines, because then everyone will be kind of hyped that Austin's getting involved, so to speak. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Let's hope it's good, whatever it is.
Exactly. So, that kind of brings us to the end of this week's Wii Talk. So we've had quite a lot of talking points. We've had Roman Reigns, All or Nothing, Brock Lesnar in the Royal Rumble, Kalisto and that ridiculous dropping of the title. You've got to get involved and let us know what you think of that. Sting to the Hall of Fame. We've had word of the Bullet Club or the Balor Club being associated in NXT with Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson joining NXT. And then, of course, the WrestleMania news of Stephanie McMahon potentially having a match and Stone Cold Steve Austin having an involvement. So, let us know by the comment section below on all those details. Have you got any shameless plugs this week?
I have. If you want to check out the Smack Talks channel, I had a patch released for 2K16 this week. Oh, yeah. And with that, it brought with some new updates, some new entrances as well. So you can check out those. We've got new entrances for Balor, for Owens, and for Dolph Ziggler. So you can check those out on the Smack Talks channel, along with the simulation that I did of the Royal Rumble, which I kind of pitched a scenario of the Shield reuniting. And then we've also got top 5 attires for John Cena. There's quite a few throwbacks in there, some really cool attires. So check them out. Let us know what your favourite attire is. I went with the Pixel 8-bit You Can't See Me shirt. If that was still around, I would buy a Cena shirt. I think that was awesome.
I was going to say to you, that Royal Rumble package that you put together with the Shield is awesome. So make sure you go and check that out. That's a really good video.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Nice. No, it's credit.
And, SNME has been on top form. That's been awesome.
Oh, thanks. You're exchanging pleasantries today.
What? Makes a change, doesn't it?
I know. It feels weird. It's a bit weird now. It's getting a bit weird. It's getting a bit awkward.
But I'm sure we'll get past these pleasantries and we'll be kind of going up against each other because we've got something else planned over the next couple of weeks. Yeah,
I know. I was going to say probably need to just kind of cut these pleasantries and just say I'm going to beat your ass if we do meet each other in the 2K King of the Ring tournament that we're having. So I mean, I'm going to be the King of Kings by the end of that. So
Well, you've got a tough task though, because you've got to take on CM Pulse.
Yeah,
and I've got
yeah.
a tough task because I've got to take on John Cena.
I mean, I'm the Undertaker for this tournament, and I've got CM Pulse first. It's been organised by lots of us YouTubers, and it's going to be really good fun. I put a little promotional video up on my channel. I think Smack Talks has got a few things in the pipeline as well. So who have we got in there? We've got Denk, we've got Tony Pizza Guy, we've got Luigi, we've got Pulse, we've got Big Red NY. Who else have we got in there?
I think you've covered most of them.
But just got loads of YouTubers in there.
I think there's 8 in total.
Yeah, and everybody's going to be trying to be the king of the ring. And
But you know what? I'm the king of kings. I'm going to be playing as Triple H. So I'm kind of used to being a king here.
Well, I got the Undertaker, so and the funny thing is that CM Pulse got Brock Lesnar, so I've got to try and overcome the odds that the Undertaker couldn't do in real life at WrestleMania. So
Well, that's the thing. If I'm going up against John Cena, like Triple H, is the one guy that's not going to let him go over him. So maybe that's a good thing.
I've got to come up with some sort of fudgy finish to try and get out of it. Like I think though, I did notice on the Twitter feed that it is finishers only, like to win.
It is, so that's a good thing. We don't have to worry about losing like a clothesline or an armbar or something like that.
Yeah, but Brock's got the Kimura lock, hasn't he?
Well, Cena's got the STFU. Is it still called that?
Yeah. So I mean, ugh. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens. I'm hoping Taker gets the job done. I mean, I did put up my burial video, so I've got to try and back it up now. Although I'm going to put it out there now. I don't really play online that much, so there is a big.
What, you're on there all the time?
Come off it.
Every night you're on 2K16, guaranteed.
I'm editing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the most that I know is that the lag is just atrocious. So, woohoo!
Well, I'll wait and see how things go, and then I'll probably agree with you. Like come this time next week.
Yeah. So when I'm in those loser brackets, that'll be my excuse.
Well, that's a cool thing because if we do get beat, we're getting the loser bracket. So it's not like we're out first time; we still get a second chance.
Yeah, and I think all in all, the main thing to think here is winner or loser. I think the best bit that's come out of this is that we're getting like lots of YouTubers, different levels and everything like that, all working together to promote not just the game, but to try and enhance the community a bit more. So that's the goal, that's the aim of the game. If this does well, I'm pretty sure that Denk pretty much put this together, so I'm sure he's going to be looking at other things as well to promote and just again keep the community working together as opposed to everyone sort of bickering left, right and centre. So, it's a really good thing, and I think that it's going to be exciting if we can if this one comes off, we move to maybe like 16 people. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. It's great to see the community come together this time and kind of work together to do this. I think it's an awesome thing, and it just allows people to watch like all the favourite YouTubers going up against each other, see who comes out on top. I think that's an awesome thing to see, and it's something that we don't really get too often. So it'll be cool to see how this goes. I think it'll do really well. And then maybe do like a bigger one next year when 2K17 comes out. Maybe we can do like a UK one as well, so we can get some UK guys in there. And whoever wins the main one, we can have the UK guy challenge them, crown an undisputed World Heavyweight 2K champion.
Yeah, we have to ban It's My Yard from that because he's too good. Apparently.
Yeah, Yard's not getting invited. Too good. We're too scared of him.
So yeah, he can just kind of just think he's the best because no one invites him to the game because they don't want to lose.
That's the reason.
But yeah, I mean, it's all going to be good. It's going to be very interesting indeed, and you all will rest in peace by the end of it. Had to get that.
Nah, I think it's going to be a case of start game, King of Kings. I've got this all sorted, man. I can book myself to win it. I'm Triple H. I'm the game. I'm the authority. I've got authority over you, and I'm going to prove that when I first take out Big Red NY, and then if you beat CM Pulse, which it's going to be a tough task.
Yeah.
But then that means that me and you meet in this bracket, and we can see who's the best.
And I think we all know what happened last time that happened, didn't it? Wasn't I the victor? I was the victor, wasn't I? In the Beat the Clock challenge.
No.
What do you mean no? What do you mean no? I was.
No. I mean, no, because I'm sure I had like 3 matches and I beat you in 30 seconds the first one. And you're like, no, let's do best of 3. And then I beat you in the second one. You're like, one more time. And I think it says whoever gets the quickest time then for you.
What video went up on the channel?
The one that let you win. Because I felt so sorry for you after beating you in 30 seconds.
It's the video that's on the channel, unfortunately. All the other stuff just doesn't exist. You just made it up.
I guess I'll have to upload that first match then.
Oh, crap. Yeah, so guys, if you are interested in the 2K tournament, then I'll leave a link to Denk's channel where he's got the full information as well, so you can check out exactly what's going on, look at the brackets and all that sort of stuff, and just keep an eye on all of our channels because we will be putting more info out. So, I guess all that's left to be said is, are you going to catch us later?
Shall catch you later.
Yes, please rate, comment, and subscribe. This is the end of this week's We Talk, Smack Talks, and Delzinski signing out.
Hi, wrestling fans and gamers. Velvet Sky here, and I just want to say I've been hearing a rumor that Delzinski.com is the best place for video gaming and wrestling content.